artery. So it's meant for mobility. There's a little bit of a zoom out. I skipped over that. The back. So the OII, as it was said, or the record and pause buttons on our back. They're still there. It's for environmental packs, life support systems, things like that. Most of the classic TKs don't have them. You see sand troopers wear packs. We have a sand trooper in the back hanging out with us without a pack, but they often wear packs. And actually, more troopers in the Force Awakens wear packs. Snow troopers wear them, and some of the Jakku soldiers are wearing them too. So they can mount right up to that interface. Thermal detonator is still there. Once again, buttons are gone. You don't want people pushing your buttons. So now it's completely encased in the tube. I presume you could just slide it out and chuck it, but I'm kind of afraid to try it. Lower body. So there's quite a few, quite a few differences here. The knee plates. I have completely independent suspended knee plates now, which is great. So I can kneel on either knee instead of being forced to use a particular sniper plate. So it's probably something just came undone. So it's more flexible. Something was definitely good. There we go. So it's nice. It's you can kneel on either side, more flexible. No ammo pack on the knee, which sounds like a terrible idea to have ammo on your knee. So that's a good thing. That's good. Gaskets again on the knees to let you move and protect you. The holster. The holster's pretty cool. So we now have this metal bracket on our thigh, and most of the weaponry can attach to it with corkscrews. So our big blaster, our small blasters, the riot baton, a lot of this, there's a flashlight that we'll see later, a lot of this stuff, it all attaches right to the thigh. Whereas in the older ones, one of the downsides to the hanging holster, so you're running around and your gun is swinging all over the place. So this kind of keeps it in place. The spats. So biggest drawback to the classic TK is nothing's protecting your ankles, which is terrible when you're on Endor surrounded by Ewoks. So we've got that fixed now. I've got ankle armor, so the best they could do is chew on my toes or something. So we're safe now. We've got spats. Boots. Boots are very similar. Stark white boots. These ones are more comfortable, which is nice. But pretty much the same concept. So let's look a little bit about structure. Okay, we know from the Force Awakens they have ranks among the troops. 3 divisions, the officer, the sergeant, and the squad leader. And so if you watch the movie, you'll see various guys walking around, quite a few of them with various colored pulses, and that's what that means. So the First Order has clearly much smaller divisions of military than the Empire did. You see a lot more of these arrangements of troopers, where they'll have a squad leader and they'll have a specialist and things like that. So accessories, this is my favorite part of the First Order Stormtrooper. Has anyone read the Before the Awakening book? It's pretty good. It gives you a little insight into where Finn came from, where Rey came from. And they talk about their training, and they're forced to train with a huge array of weapons. Everything from vibro axes to shock staffs to all the ones you've seen, the heavy cannon, the flamethrower. We have a little flamethrower trooper in the back. He's sitting down, but you'll have to check him out before you go. It's pretty cool. They train with a huge array of weaponry, and everybody trains with all of these weapons. So again, their training is much more thorough. Anyone could become a specialist with a particular set of weapons. So we see the primary weapon is the new blaster. Do anyone know what it's called? Close. F-11D. It's just the next evolution of the E-11. It's very similar in structure. It's actually reversed. The classic Stormtroopers weapons were always on their left, and the ammo, the energy cartridge sticks out of the left. Now it's on the right, and the cartridges stick out of the right, which is nice. And there's a small version that's slightly scaled down called the F-11 Blaster, and then there's the F-11 Blaster Rifle, which is not only longer with the stock, but it's actually bigger too. So those are the 2 versions of it. So it not only has more stuff on it, but it's actually a larger gun as well. You have this guy. Who likes this guy? Yes. Pretty sweet. The Before the Awakening book talks about how they actually did train to be able to stop lightsabers, but they were a little bit confused as to why, because they kind of presumed that no one was using them anymore. That's probably the whole Snoke Kylo Ren thing. They wanted to be prepared because they had other motives besides controlling the galaxy. So you've got the Riot Baton, I forget what it's called. There's so many new weapons with letters. Let's call it ZE-26 Riot Baton. It's something like that. They also carried a shield. Hopefully it works. I don't know. The armor already doesn't work. The shield's made out of the same stuff. I'm not really sure. And then this is a personal favorite of mine. This is the Mega Blaster. You see this when they're escaping the docks. You see it on Jakku, where some of the squads had specialists that carried this guy. Could run out on the battlefield and put really big holes in things. So it's a pretty cool weapon. And that trooper, along with many others who wear the ammo vest that I'm wearing now. But there's a lot of mixing and matching. That's another significant difference with the new troopers, is that they don't seem to be clearly pigeonholed as you're this kind of trooper, but they have an array of things they can use, and different people would specialize, but they were all trained in all of it. So a lot of different kinds of troopers wear the same packs, mix and match the weapons. Some of them are carrying a smaller one. Some of them are carrying flashlights on their legs. Here's that picture. See here. So yeah, you see this Jakku trooper who's got a small pistol on his leg and he's got a backpack. You see this guy who's actually got what looks like a flashlight mounted to his leg. He's like the camping trooper right now. And then you have the quad-noculars. I don't really understand. It's cool looking, but you don't have 4 eyes. You still just have 2. But they're called the quad-noculars, and we've seen these in like A New Hope too. Luke's using them, just a more advanced version of it. So they carry a lot of gear. And sometimes they carry lightsabers. There's like one little part where one of the stormtroopers has Luke's lightsaber in his hand. So I'm considering that canon, that we can carry lightsabers. It's in the movie. So yeah, the new stormtroopers they're more trained, more elite, lots of accessories. If you're into costuming, it's really cool too, because you can be like 5 different guys with the same outfit, which is awesome. Whereas like some differences, like we have our sand trooper in the back. Usually there were subtle armor differences between them, besides just the accessories. Do you have like a different knee plate, Trent?
Yeah, so the sniper plate is a little bit different. The buttons are different.
So there were subtle armor differences, right? Whereas now, it's pretty much the exact same armor. All the first order troopers. Now you do have flame troopers, snow troopers, things like that, which we have in all these other areas as well, that are really a different kind of trooper. But the first order trooper is kind of a Swiss Army knife, basically. So that's the first order trooper. We've got a little bit of time. Does anyone have any questions about any of these guys? Yeah.
Okay, so with all due respect, like when we like Gorgier's that orders and shields actually deflected to it, like how often does stormtrooper armor actually stop dead? They seem to die like one shot at a time.
Yeah, it's all about having better.
So none of the armor was actually meant to deflect fire.
It's just meant to make you guys uncomfortable, or?
Intimidating.
It's meant for blunt force trauma. To protect against elements, right? Now there's a funny thing that I didn't mention in my second presentation, kind of hard to say. But the initial clone armor was this armor was actually designed for all kinds of elements, not just the smoke and that voltage, but also poison gas. But when Finn and Rey are on the Millennium Falcon, he makes the comment that for a stormtrooper, they don't have any protection against poison gas, right? So it's kind of a slight change. Yeah, there's a big change in what they protect against.
Kind of the key to what armor can stop is depends on who's shooting at you, basically, in the movie. If it's Han, Luke, and Leia, you're going to die. If it's a bunch of unnamed rebels in a hallway, we're going to win. So,
Okay, so Commander Cody ended up giving back Obi-Wan's lightsaber. How come he still has Obi-Wan's lightsaber?
He doesn't like let go.
Think of us as like a snapshot of time, you know, because Cody would be really old.
Would be, not ours.
I saw it.
You mentioned that the old helmet was meant for intimidation, even though it's the least intimidating out of the 4 helmets.
Perspective. Back in the 1970s, it was really intimidating.
Exactly. I'm trying to
They're
tell.
very copied. So it was an evolution forward, but actually was behind. So back then, it was something very unique.
Right, yeah. So that's actually another interesting thing. They're actually called TKs and FNs in the movie. So there seems to be divisions of identification in the new First Order that weren't there before. We don't know much about it, but if you watch the movie closely, some guys get called TK and some guys get called FN. So they did have. We don't know if it was had to do with when they came in, or if it has to do with like what legion you're part of or something. But there's more than one identification now, whereas in the classic it was all TK. Yes.
With how the helmets are in the, was it